No, I love the fact that you've really done the place up for the anniversary.
Oh, we have.
We've gone to no expense. Was that a new whiteboard for the occasion? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we got that about a gift to us 10 years ago. We haven't had it out since.
No, bizarrely, I was looking. It's July of 2017. We first started talking about the history. We were hoping then to get our hands on the deeds, which thankfully we have, and it's the right month to do it because.
Well, see, I delayed it so that we'd celebrate the 60th year and the date
on the actual.
It's taken me a year and a bit to delay you, hounding me for this information.
So it is a very big month for even though this has been in existence since 1866 as basically a butcher's,
yes.
But we're talking about October is particularly significant because on the 6th of October 1958, your father Anthony Sr. moves in, and then also in 1992. You and your beautiful brother kind of take over the business.
So it was handed down to us on the 2nd of October that year.
There you go.
So
now, getting your hands finally on the deeds, it's obviously a big jigsaw puzzle because we're dealing with a lot of years. So this idea of trying to get every single, change of hands. We mentioned old boss Hayden, for example. The deeds aren't right there for him, but we know he was
definitely here for a good few years, and it went from
George Roberts of Newcastle. Is it?
Yes,
yeah.
It went to Roberts then, and Roberts sold in 1958 to my father. George Samuel Roberts sold it to Anthony Farrelly.
Right.
Dad was down in Port Arlington at that time, so they moved from there up here. Now, my father was originally from Edgeworthstown in Longford. Now, he did move around after himself and my mum got married, but they were trying to save enough money to buy a place of their own.
But they're travellers.
They were travellers, yes.
Okay, right.
He even told me at a time that during the war years or the emergencies back in the day, he was actually in Dublin the night it was bombed and heard the explosions. So, he did work in Dublin. He worked in Roscommon. He was down in Port Arlington. They were moving around a bit, but all the time trying to save enough money to buy a place of their own. And they settled here in 1958. For better or worse, a bit like marriage, and produced 4 children here.
3.5.
Anthony has always been an issue there, but they stopped when they got me. As young Robin,
my
nephew say, perfection is what you want.
Finally, we've got it right. We
leave it there.
Lucky 4th time.
Yes.
Now, had your father been in this business before he took over here in 1958? Was this new to him?
No, he trained as a butcher. When he left school at the age of 15.
Right.
Now, also back in that day, when you became an apprentice, you actually had to pay your employer to be an apprentice, and you had to learn your trade, your craft that way.
We've come a long way now. You only have to work for free.
Oh, jeez, you have to pay the little buggers, and they seem to think that they're entitled to the minimum national wage and hourly rates and bonuses.
So that was a big commitment on your father.
Big commitment, yes.
He knew he this was a career and this was going to be.
That was it. Now, where he lived in Longford, outside Edgeworthstown, a townland called Corklara. And it was a 3.5 mile cycle into town to the butcher's where he was working. Right. So that was a daily commute. But he was also saying you'd be expected to be in there early, set up, do the work. They did the slaughtering there themselves as well, and it certainly wasn't a 9-to-5 job in those days. But that's the way it was for everybody back in the day.
And of course, there's certain things about any major trades as time changes. For example, going back to the very beginning, 1866, butchers specialised in certain areas. It wasn't just that you did everything, in one butcher. And that probably the necessity of just the needing to get more customers in and needing to survive broadened the kind of palette for butchers. So you do a bit of everything here, in regards to. But would your father have specialised? I can't remember now. Was he was it a general butchers?
He was a general butchers, but let's say the range of products that we would do now compared to what he did would be much greater. Wait for this to.
Oh, would it have been much greater back then, or
no? Greater now.
Yes.
Okay, let's say.
Well, of course, you've got a whole happy pear division there as well. There's great. There's lots of lovely selection of just about everything you'd want for a meal.
Yes. We'll park the happy pear. But I was just going to say, in relation to that, something like chicken.
Right.
In my father's days, a chicken was a chicken.
Right.
A whole bird.
That's it.
No bird.
Right.
Whereas now we would do chicken legs, chicken wings, we would do chicken drumsticks, thighs,
very fancy,
fillets,
very fancy.
The range.
We live in the future. We live in the future now.
Yeah.
But of course, there's all sorts. It's not even that. It's just the fact that the chicken. You want a French chicken. You want a free range chicken. You want a chicken with a mustache. There's very strong.
There's a huge.
Are there gluten free chichickens? I don't know. Can you get gluten free chickens? Is that such a thing?
We can't find any free chickens apart from the ones we steal at night.
There you go.
But
there is a huge amount of variant now, because people have not only got the various different intolerance have seemed to suddenly descend upon the world, but then there's also just that desire to have particular tastes, a particular,
there's also the thing of people want ready meals or stuff that pre-marinated, pre-done, and all the information following up on the back of that of, as you're hitting there, gluten-free allergens, what's in this, I'm and see.
So we're kind of a lazy, weak, fickle generation.
It's not so much a lazy, weak, fickle, but it just means that if you're bringing in a product and you're putting something in the cabinet there for sale, you need to know everything about it.
Sure.
Not just about the meat end of things. You need to know
is it married, how many children, and all that?
Yeah, how many children, where they came from, its parentage, the whole lot.
Do you do transgender chicken? Is that thing? Is that a thing yet?
Well, Michael's into that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Michael's swinging both ways, or any ways, or three ways. He's that way inclined.
Do you think your father ever? Because I grew up in Delgany, and I just, Mr. Farrelly was the butcher, Mr. Brady across the road was the grocer. There was a sense of it was a definite. Was it always a definite? Do you think for your dad? Did he ever? I don't know if that generation didn't really dwell on regret or anything like that, but did it always feel like a healthy job? Was he always happy, do you think, here? Was it ever a struggle?
Yeah, he enjoyed his work. Now I know some people might feel like, how can you enjoy being a butcher and cutting them? He took pride in what he did, presenting things, cutting things, making sure things were cut correctly, neat appearance, looking presentable.
Right.
And he took great pride in that, which we tried to emulate ourselves here.
Yeah.
But according to himself, he'd say we failed miserably, as all our parents would have encouraged us.
Yeah, that's the way to get a kid ahead.
But I just want to jump back to one thing about when they moved here in 1958.
Yes.
I remember speaking to my father and asking him about, how was it back then? And he said, well, they scraped enough money together. They put an offer in on this place, which was a bit less than the asking price.
Right.
And there was a bit of communication between themselves and Roberts was looking for more money, and they weren't offering any more money. And at the end of the day, Roberts settled for the offer.
Right.
And my father said, like, that cleared them out, and they just had enough money to stock the place.
Right.
And he said they opened on a Monday, and every customer came in, wished him well, bought something, and then asked to open up an account. So he said, holy sweet Jesus, he said that month was a very tight month, because they sold the product. He said they barely got enough money to restock, but the accounts went out and you had to wait another shagging month before everybody started paying. But he said after you got over that, yes.
Yeah.
But like, he said it was a very tough
rent
period.
at the end of the month rather than at the start of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I suppose too, once that plate is spinning, it starts to
once you
work.
got over the 2 months, he said yes, things started working out very well.
Yeah.
Now he said there was always a few families around that would run a bill, and the bill would run for a while, and there was a certain place on Priory Road, a very large country house.
I'll put the name in the text. I'll find out.
Yeah. I won't mention about the house name, but it's now in possession of how would say a property developer. Okay. But it wasn't nothing to do with him.
Right.
It was going back in 1958, and he got a letter from them when he sent over, let's say, the third or fourth month's bill and hadn't been paid. And the letter came back saying, Mr. Farrelly, the account will be cleared when the cow calves and we sell the calf.
Ba-boom! There you go.
So there you go, like, holy sweet jeez, when's that going to be?
I wonder if the banks ever take a letter like that. I'll pay the mortgage as soon as the cow calves and we can sell that calf.
Yes, if the calf dies, don't ask what's going to happen.
Would you have any recollection? You're talking about your dad opened in '58. Within about 5 or 6 years, the '60s, kind of hit in the hippie culture, and suddenly vegetarianism kicks in. And now it would have been. It always takes about 10 years for Ireland to catch up with the rest of the world. So Woodstock and all that arrived about 1975 in Ireland.
Yeah.
But did that ever kind of was there ever was that ever an issue? Was it ever kind of like oh there's a whole generation now who are sort of shouting about the fact that we should just only eat?
No, not so much vegetarianism.
Right.
But what you did get was people asking, and even to this day, asking a bit more about where does the meat come from?
Okay.
Is it local?
The ethics of it, and
yes. Are they indoor reared? Are they free range? And animal welfare.
Right.
Let's put it that way. Now, I think the conscious fact that people coming into a butcher shops have consciously decided to eat meat, so we don't get by and large get asked vegetarian.
Right.
However, you do occasionally get people coming in and asking, do you have any vegetarian sausages?
All right.
And or vegetarian burgers. And our standard answer is yes, we do. All the animals we killed were vegetarians.
Boom.
So
there you go.
Yep. So the burger is a
Has
vegetarian.
that ever gotten a laugh from a vegetarian?
It gets a little bit of a.
I say the lads all are laughing their guts up, high-fiving each other. The vegetarians walking out the door.
So, but like it's back to the shall we say, animal welfare.
Yes.
And the fact that you can turn around and say, like, the last bunch of lambs we got were from a gentleman called Tom Wheatley, who's taken the land on Cherry's Brow, Cherry's Farm. And that's on Blackberry Lane, which you can very clearly see from here.
Sure,
And the fact that people, you can turn to say, look, within a mile of here, that's where the farm is. That's where the lambs come from.
Yeah.
You can go up there, you can see them out in the field.
Where that housing estate is now.
Or soon to be. If the offer was made, they'd probably
call it Lamb's Hill or Lamb's Slaughter Hill or something like that. It'd be some lovely name for it there, because they're really trying up there to build on every single inch of that area.
I know.
We should say too that when it came to your own kind of taking the reins, it was a sort of it was almost like a kind of a magician's sleight of hand, because your father goes to Loughlinstown Hospital, not feeling well, says to his young, beautiful sons, would you mind just looking after for a few days, because I'll be back out soon enough.
Yeah, we're still waiting.
And he did come back out, but he didn't walk back through this door. He walked through the door down there into the house.
Yes, he decided that he'd done enough of the hard labour, the physical work of it. He did the supervision and called us gobshites whenever required.
Well, everybody.
Every parent did that. Yes.
I think when you see the Farrelly brothers, it just feel that's what comes to mind.
I so I'll go with that. Solo, while he certainly took a big step back, he would always keep a keen interest in what we were doing. Tried to point us in the right direction. Particularly, like as I was saying, he always took great pride in presentation. He would always come out to the abattoir when you were killing. He would have a look at the animals. He would go to Ashford with Anthony. They would buy the animals there in the mart or direct off the farm. So he always kept that interest going, because that was the part that he really liked.
Right.
Just the presentation, finding a really good animal, a good quality animal, and bringing it back and getting it prepared.
Well, of course, in 1992, when you and Anthony started working here, you were working two meat markets. It was this one and Cabanas. So that transition period, did you think that you still might, be only temporary, or was it when Cabanas?
We thought we were only temporary. This is only just
still are.
He'll come back. He'll take over.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Cabanas closed and we sort of said, sugar.
There's no plan B here.
There's no plan B. We have to make a living out of this place. It sort of focuses our attention.
It does focus the mind a bit when you've no money or no options.
So we started working hard at it, and despite our best efforts, we're still here.
Nice. Now, we should say that there is a generational thing going on, that you've got two lovely sons, Tom and James. That Tom has said no way. I think James has been down to look at, he loves the hearts and the livers and all that. He's sort of a budding Hannibal Lecter thing going on there.
There's definitely,
I know Anthony has 5 sprogs. I don't know if any of them, I think he was saying one of the daughters is sort of management material rather than...
Emma would manage rather than hands-on.
There you go.
I don't think any of his kids would be a hands-on type. As opposed to my two, who Tom but James has a morbid fascination with body parts.
Nice. That's well, you should be proud. That's
it runs in the family type thing.
A gorgeous child. I'm sure he will go on to great things. He'll either become a politician or a serial killer. There's
a very fine line between that. One and the other.
Yeah. Now that idea then that there may be, hopefully, another generation, is that at all something you talk about or think about? That
to be absolutely honest, no.
No, okay.
You just have to sort of say, look, if they want, grand, but if they want to do something else, you just encourage them and try to advise them the best you can.
Right.
The fact that we end up as butchers probably means that our advice isn't worth taking, and they're probably better off being left on their own.
So it is something though that we're talking about. It's been here 60 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, you've got at least another 10 years on you. I don't know how old you are now, but you've got at least 10 years.
Yeah, I'm only
maybe.
32.
Oh, there you go. But do you feel? I mean, that would hopefully mean that certainly for the next 20, 30 years. This is going to be here. It does seem like it's solid. It doesn't seem like you're going to be, a
fly by night. No.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be blown over by different sort of swings and tastes and economy and all that. It just seems this is a necessity, and obviously you do what you do well.
Well, look, I mean, you look at it. It's a well-established business.
Yeah.
It's doing a steady trade. It's got a loyal customer base. You just try to keep that going, and you try to build on that. Yes, you're looking at also saying, at some stage you're going to want to retire, live life a bit. There's always ways that we actually haven't discussed it, but just while talking to you here, you'd have the option of, let's say, leasing it out to somebody.
Okay, yeah.
If you found somebody of same warped sense of humour, like that would be interesting.
Well, they'd have to be a very warped 1970s Benny Hill sense of humour, I think.
Yes.
You'd need that.
Yeah.
You need to be in a certain pun.
Influence would
he is a pun master.
Yeah, and the bald head and the slapping of the.
I think that would work. Yeah. So happy days, really, because I mean it is healthy as ever. I think your dad would be genuine. I think he'd be very, very proud of the fact that not only would say it's survived, but it's thrived. You've sort of moved up a gear or two in the last, I would say in the last decade or so. You've gone from you never changed, but you've sort of been recognised, I guess, that there's something real here. There's an authenticity. It's one of only 3 abattoirs. I think Tinnahealy and Doyle's in Dunlavin. Yeah.
Yes. And they're like ourselves, just a domestic abattoir, just killing for ourselves. There's no commercial abattoirs in the county.
Yeah.
So yes, you are unique in that respect, and in that way, we've had people asking for, let's say, not your standard cut, not your standard thing, but stuff that we would have because we are what we are.
Sure. And you know what you're doing, basically. I had no idea you're on the N11 here, by the way. Very busy street. Is this part of the N11 now, or?
I think it's been a detour through here just specifically for this event.
For this interview. Yes. Well, listen, congratulations. This Saturday is the actual birthday. I know that there's the 2nd of October was when yourself and the beautiful Anthony took over, but really the 6th of October is the beginning of the Farrelly story.
Yes.
So that's this Saturday. We should encourage people to come down and say happy birthday to you, because it's
absolutely. I think we should show some sort of thing, and anybody spends over €100 get a free chicken leg.
There you go. You are always a giver, always a giver. And then maybe I don't know, for the 70th we could go for a new sign. Maybe would that work? Maybe.
I know. That is good. 10 years out of that.